Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a Diamond Doomfist. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all of that good stuff. Let's make sure we're good here. Fine. Nope, that's not quite what I wanted to do.
Can you hear that music?
Okay, fine.
Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Pushing out, we're pushing out with our high ground. Normal.
Your time's run out.
You don't get greedy, and then you get greedy once your cooldown will be cycled back. Sure?
3,
Oh, that was a bigger rewind than we wanted.
2, 1.
Hey, alright.
Attackers incoming.
Hey, Val. I saw you had questions, Val. I'll deal with them after, but this was scheduled.
Your time's run out.
Yeah, okay. And you just go for a regular melee because you're out of shots. Sure. Kind of delivered him out, but we can deal with that. I really want you going deeper here. So your comp is set up. You guys are set up with a brawl comp. You're set up with a brawl tank. You guys are set up with a messy comp. That is a messy comp. Okay. Was they are set up quite poke heavy. Yeah, so I don't love this. Like, you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna have my cooldown, and it's true. You're gonna have to drop behind. No one's really gonna be able to follow you with their comp. Okay. But this isn't gonna finish her, and you're gonna have to drop behind. So let's make sure that you do that. No. You're in too hard here. It doesn't make sense. So you go in for this, and this could make sense if you had a more full team dive going on, if you had a more credible threat going on. Your hog isn't a credible enough threat. Yes, we drove back their Winston, and that's helpful. Their Winston is in a situation where, oh, he doesn't like it. He had to get healed up. He's back over here. But now we're going, oh, I can go in. I can slam in, punch in, perfectly fine. But then if we're going, no, I'm actually trying to connect with the uppercut, I can even live with that, but this was never going to be a real engage if that was the case. This was always going to be can I scare her into dropping? And if she doesn't immediately scare into dropping, I need to back up and effectively drop back here myself, because you're not gonna be able to hold this. You know you're not gonna be able to hold this. You knew your hog wasn't gonna seriously threaten them, and then look, there's a hog, there's a Hanzo, there's a Mercy. There's too much help back here, and you are in that Doomfist position of whoops, I'm in with no cooldowns, and my only way out is to drop. So we've really got to be conscious of what our out was gonna be. If this was a all in using all of our cooldowns, let me rephrase that. If this was going to be using all of our cooldowns, we had to know immediately what our out was going to be if we didn't get something, because your team isn't all winning right now. You don't have your ult right now. So it was scoop back here. It was drop back here and tuck in here. It was not, I'm just going to stay here and hope I can eliminate her, when this was always going to happen. Friends were going to show up. Yeah, I don't like it. And then you're rushing this punch because you stayed in too long for the Hanzo there. Or stayed long enough for the Hanzo to push you there. I just asked a big question. Could you explain it after finishing the review? Yeah. Also loved the map guide series. Will it get a playlist so it'll be more shareable on the internet? Absolutely, it'll get a playlist. It should already have one. I just didn't want to do one when I had one, but then we did two yesterday, so.
I win this time.
Sure. Stabilize. you're gonna find some of the Gibraltar issues for Doomfist. How are you gonna find your way in? Okay. So you're like this, you're gonna go fishing. The problem that we have is, like, it's gonna be really hard with some of these to actually get anything unless you're comboing up your team doing work. Like, you're not hitting anyone with this punch, you're not trying to hit anyone with this punch, you're trying to just get in with this punch, which I could deal with if you then had a great slam available, but you don't. You have to use your slam to get out, so this becomes a... Okay, we're going to uppercut him. Even if you'd hit him with the uppercut and fist pumped him once there, it was never going to be enough. So was this to enable your Roadhog? Was this to enable your Widow? Like, you're going in a little bit alone still. A little bit alone. Like, yes, your teammates are threatening relevant areas in terms of, hey, your Hog is up here by blue box. Your Widow has top mid there. Your Ryan hasn't really pushed in to be relevant. I'd really like to hit this more to timing when... Hog, Widow. I'd really like to hit this more to timing when your Reinhardt has pushed his way in a little more. I'd like the brawl to happen with you, effectively. You go in and the brawl is immediately happening, or you go in when the brawl is happening. If we're not going to have any of our abilities that have good finishing power available to us when we're actually in. Like, you had to use punch and slam, or punch and uppercut. You'd use punch to get in, and then uppercut for damage, and then slam to get out. And that's simply not going to be great for us because we're not getting anyone just by connecting on them with uppercut. Like, uppercut plus a fist pump, it's not going to take people down. So you're going in, you're dealing with the chances of getting hooked, all that shenanigan in exchange for, well, I'm going to poke at someone. Not like I'm going to fish for an elimination. I'm going to poke. I'm going to trade health with someone. Not really what we want. Got too impatient. Okay. Going to be much the same thing. You're going for the slam here, and it's too shallow. Like, you're going in for the slam, and it's too shallow. This is just outside your range. You need to think of this as like I'm going to punch into a slam, into an uppercut, and then try to get my way, try to kite around this thing until I can punch out type thing. Like, you can play this. There's enough terrain here for you to go, I'm going to do punch, slam, uppercut, or I'm going to do... or I'm going to wait till the car gets a little closer, and then I'm going to punch and hit them and potentially uppercut and slam out. But, like, you need to do this in a way where, hey, you've actually got a potential of getting eliminations. This doesn't have that. Like, it's a slam that's shallow, and we know it's shallow. And then we go for our punch, but now we don't have mobility to get out. Even if this Ana hadn't hit us, we don't have mobility to get out. If we were going to go for stuff that, actual elimination power, great. We wanted to hit it like here and then try to be able to line of sight around this immediately. But, oh well. Got it. You expected it to let you hit your Demon Slam. Understood.
Soldier 76, reporting for duty. Winston reporting.
Why is the payload stopped?
Sure.
Meteor strike.
Okay.
You look tired.
Fine.
Rising up.
Go over your sequence. Should be reasonable. Your Reinhardt's right here. Your core's really not, but you're really only fighting their front line too. They won't have full core support either, so this is fine. Sure. You got nothing for him, but you still want him.
Meteor strike.
And you now decide that it's reasonable to do this, and you doing this means Winston should get her. Sure.
You look tired.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Even if you'd gone down there, that would have been fine. Though you shouldn't have gone down.
Let's get you back in the fight.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
You don't really need to be aimed down quite like this. If someone walks through here, you're not going for a slam, you're going for a punch. You should really be aimed for that punch. You should really be aimed a little higher where your left clicks do a bit more damage. This isn't quite right to be aiming here. You should be prepped for your version of someone walk through a doorway as they walk through a doorway into getting smacked into this. Is someone likely to walk through this doorway? No, not terribly, but there's just no reason to be staring at the ground there.
Your time.
That Winston was cool. He followed up, called out jumps. Nice. And they say, hey, Lachin. Okay. And now you need to... you have rally. Okay. I don't know about that punch. And I apologize if it feels like I'm criticizing every single ability used, but yeah, I'm potentially going to criticize every single ability used. Sure. Okay.
With me.
I've got you in my sights.
Heroes never die.
They're fighting. You have full health. It is an Anna and a Hanzo and a Roadhog right behind them in the end. I can live with that. So, what if you hit him? Okay. Like, what are you even going for here? You got rezzed. You did that. You were just pre-charging your punch for him. Okay.
You're making this.
I don't really think so. I don't think you want to be here. Like, I've got zero desire for you to be peer in this fight. Why are we giving Hog a chance to trade back and get a limbs on you? Your team is hard winning this fight. Take it easy. Don't take risks. You punched in. You've got nothing for fighting him here. You wanted to bounce on the payload here. Okay. You didn't know he would be back so soon.
I'm not.
So you do this. I mean, you can't see the Hog, it's true. You're just thinking, hey, I want to be part of the payload push. Okay. I don't like that you've left yourself in the open without a slam or a punch. Okay. By the time he's done breathing, you do have abilities. Sure. It's a clean enough rock. Yeah, no, I assumed he was trying to bounce, but he didn't have anything good to do with the bounce, is the thing.
Your time's run out.
So that's potentially good, except, and I like that you put yourself over here on the high ground. Like, yes, that's good. We established ourselves on the high ground. You had enough here. You Winston went in at the same time. So you're going to get to play more all-ins because your Winston is going in too. Sure.
Just what I
But
need.
why? I'm good. You have cooldowns. You can walk and get the mega. You're trying to get the pack from her. You're not going to press I need healing. Interesting. Pressing I need healing would have been fine. She doesn't have any packs. Interesting. I don't want to go up here.
Just what I need.
I wanted to circle back. Are you going to punch uppercut to get back? Yeah, okay, just punch. Fine.
I need
That
healing.
works.
I'm escorting the
You
payload.
peeked that early, and that kind of sets your whole pushback. I don't know why that just jumped. So, if we look at this... What the heck? That should not be jumping me to there when I try to pull up my epic pen. Weird. So, if you look at it from this perspective, you did not need to step out here to peek to see where are they, I want to know where the enemies are. You effectively went too deep into your staging. You went from staging into scouting. You spent HP to find, and you didn't intend to spend HP, I know that, but there's always the chance of spending HP when you peek like that, when these guys simply aren't ready. Like, even if you'd found the best, most juiciest dive target in the world, these guys aren't ready. And I know you were trying to pre-scout, you were trying to get some information so that when you then peaked later, you'd be faster because you'd have sort of primed where opponents were, and you'd be faster to go, oh, yep, let me re-find them and let me hit my slam, uppercut, etc. And that's good and all, but you really didn't need to peak early here. You're looking at this from you're being greedy. You're trying to make it too easy effectively when you don't have meaningful poke. They do. They, of course, some of them, of course, saw you punch over up here, and your team was never going to be ready to go in when you peaked this. So we don't really love that. Ideally, our team would feed us information. They're not going to unladder, but you just delay this peak until your team is at least more swung around to, hey, is my team at least like here? Or even better is like my Reinhardt here, and I can see him swinging. Do I have my soldier set up, shooting, etc.? You needed a little bit more because if we look at our team, they're just now thinking about rounding the corner. And you gave away HP, and hopefully you'll still be able to get here, and you'll still be able to get a pack or something from Brig before you go in, or maybe Mercy will come up and get you, but probably not. Probably not. Yeah, and this is not the engage you would have taken if you had full health. You'd have taken a deeper angle if you'd had full health. You'd have been happy to go like that, or you'd have been happy to, well, you wouldn't have gone back there for them. But this is not the angle you'd have taken. You'd have taken an angle that messed them up a little more if you'd had full health. So this is sort of you paying for that early scouting.
Meteor strike.
Braver Doomfist than me.
Rising uppercut.
Sure. Fine. It's one of my biggest problems. I see my team far away, and instead of waiting, I go, ah! All in. I hear you.
The payload is approaching its destination.
Oh, did Brig give 2 packs to Winston? Is that why she didn't have one for you? Lame. Yeah. That's gonna be a no. That's gonna be a no. And I'm sure Winston is sitting back here going, what is he doing? Are you serious right now? You're not Tracer, you're not Hammond, you're not Sombra. The back cap attempt, well, lovely, no, because you've got absolutely no way out. This played differently in my head, I bet. And again, even if your team had been like up here, your play would have made more sense. But your team was like back here, just walking back still. No.
Heroes never die. Let's get you back in the fight.
Sure. You just got lost. So you're doing this. You have to decide, wait, where are my teammates? Do I have any teammates that are relevant right now? And it feels like, based on what's in the feed, maybe you should have a chance to take apart their front line. Maybe there should be something here. But if you actually look at where your teammates are, Winston is over here. Mercy's over here. You got nothing. You got nothing. And you can see your teammates through walls, and you're like, no, I'm going to get a sneaky pickoff thing. Really, which ability is going to get you a sneaky pickoff here? Are you going to pop out here into this Kree Brig? And you know it's Kree Brig. You have Sonic Arrow. Are you going to pop out surprise? You're not going to punch her into a wall. That's not going to happen. You're not going to punch him into a wall. That's not going to happen. The angle's not right. So you're going to have to do a combination of abilities like Slam Uppercut on these guys with stuns. I don't know about that. And then you're going to punch out, and there's potentially, like, your next closest teammate is this. Again, if you had, like, your Winston right here, no problem. If you had, say, your Roadhog right here, sure. Excuse me, you don't have a Roadhog anymore. If you had your Reinhardt right here, sure. But, like, you have no close teammates, and you know that. Your Roadhog's all the way down here. No, I don't know how you expected to get value from this and get out. Like, that's the thing as Doomfist. You have to get value and get out, or it has to be a hard all-in when your whole team is all-inning. This isn't going to do either of those. She didn't have bash, so I went to slam uppercut, headshot, and punch out. I mean, even that, I think you're going to get poked out by McCree when you get down there, even if he doesn't have a flash for you here. Like, even if he doesn't have a flash for you there. You're wanting to slam uppercut headshot, but again, she's Brig. She has a shield that she's going to put up in the air. And then here you are. Yeah, okay. It's an engagement timing issue. Like, the direction was fine, but it's a timing issue. Just like the previous one was a timing issue. And your timing was better, actually, for until, I'd say, the last minute or so of gameplay. But I think this is what you said, where, you know, you perhaps got a little tilted here. Sure.
I am personally seeing.
Sure, works for me. And you see why this engage was so much better. Like, here we are. You're going for this. It's not because you're going for Hog when he's already weak. It's because you're going when... Oh, we have a super chat coming in from Adam for 199 saying, this is the ML7 of Dooms. You're just a whiny nerd. Okay. That's Adam for 199 super chat saying, this is the ML7 of Dooms. You're just a whiny nerd. Thank you, Adam. We appreciate that super chat. Maybe this is the future ML7 of Dooms. Okay, so what we're looking at here is this is a better engage because your tank is up here. Your Winston is already in. Your Hanzo has a sight line. Like, your team is relevant when you're starting the engage. Did they start the engage before you? Yes, and that's totally fine. They have tank health. They have tank tools. Totally fine for them to start. If you started it, would it be the end of my world? No, it would not be the end of my world. But I'd want you to start it in a situation that looks an awful lot like now, as opposed to one that looks like them being down here.
I am personally seeing to the payload.
Sure. Yeah, it gets worse. Now I got tilted and my team was fine again. Sure. And you get to all in here.
Your time's run out.
You get to all in doesn't mean you have to all in. You had a Winston bubble you could have played around there. It was slightly higher probability than what you're doing, but okay. Like, here you are, boom. This is good. Oh, it's a Kree. I don't like McCree. I don't like McCree at all. Is my team winning? my team is kind of winning this fight. So if we delay, are we going to get more? You and Winston are both weak. The Bubble's very weak. Yeah, you can go for it here. Bubble would hold for another shot to let you get more accurate fist shots here, but it's life. Adam says Arts equals Doom God, Temporal equals always loses to Lit RG and freezes with no heater.
The payload is in my charge.
That reminds me, Adam, I should bring in my space heater. Oh, we have another super chat coming in from Adam for 199 saying, you don't like McCree? Well, we don't like nerds. Once again, that's a super chat from Adam saying, you don't like McCree? Well, we don't like nerds. Thank you for that super chat, Adam. I like McCree reasonably well. I didn't like it when McCree was sort of the all-range hit scan with close-range power. Like, he was too effective at long range considering he was supposed to be he's designed as a mid-range hit scan based on his weapon, and then he's designed to have brawl power based on fan and flash. So like he's supposed to be a close and medium range hero who was too powerful at long range. I think the hit scan nerf, I think it probably wasn't quite fair in what it did to Ash, if I'm honest. I actually think what it did to him is, hey, I look at that and go, he needed the hit scan nerf. Like, he needed the hit scan nerf. He was too effective at all ranges. So now I like him just fine. Freeze with no heater. This Doom is a beast. I'm happy that this engage was better because I actually thought, okay, now wait until they can engage with you after what happened last time. Yep, you've just got to be faster about getting back into that habit, it sounds like. You think of yourself as standard Overwatch engage, you're a DPS. Yes, Doomfist has the brawly power to sometimes be the first in, but he'd like to be first in when his team is literally right on his heels. And it's also just fine for you to go, nope, I'm going to let my Reinhardt start swinging. I'm going to let my Winston jump in. And him to be, I go in, right after my team does. Half a second after my team does. Try to keep yourself super focused on that. You didn't like 225 HP, McCrae? Surprisingly, as I'm a Doom player? Oh yeah, so surprising.
0-3.
Genji's didn't much like him having 225 HP either.
Initiating lab.
Only the world.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
But I like how Adam speaks for the army of
Stop
McCrees
the payload.
and how they don't like nerds.
I know that.
Are you like their union rep? Did they elect you? Did you conquer them all and become their leader? Like, I would like to know more about the backstory here, Adam. Temporal is a bald nerd. Okay.
Your time's run out.
Okay, so here we are. We're taking our initiation. Match is starting. We're waiting till they're actually in the kill box. We are! And you're going after them when they're in the kill box, when your team can threaten. Your Zen, your Echo. This is good. You're hitting from a different angle. And you had your bunch left to get out.
Your time's
Just like
run
that
out.
every time. Just like that every time. Set up a nice kill box and rock it. You were the Lorax. You speak for Kreese. You are the representative. Okay.
Going free.
Did you see him go in there? You did. You see him go in there. You know his mercy's not with him, but his mercy can see you now. You're already missing HP on the way in. But you have to either fight him or leave your position. Leaving your position is a little bit safer, but not like incredibly safe. Okay. I mean, even pressing X for a Harmony Orb there is probably correct. Better than what you did. You're going in with not full health to force this one-on-one. You do have an elevation advantage to give you some extra slam damage here, which is big. But not quite enough. Yeah. I don't hate this. I just would have wanted to get... I just would have wanted to get that last... I would have wanted to try for that last bit of healing. Literally just to press I need healing. Don't slow yourself down for it. Just do it.
Moving up.
Your hunter was a beast level 40 who said smurfing is easy. Okay. I don't care. That doesn't mean you can't beat him. Okay, you're deciding that they're in range. I mean, this works. Was it pre-called that you guys were going to trans here? Because again, I see you're choosing to use your slam. I see that you dropped right before slam was available. You really dropped right before anything was available, which forced you to, instead of slam here, punch here, which I can live with if your plan is, no, I'm going to end these in such a place that I can immediately uppercut out. This slam is not ending in a place that you can uppercut out. You're not in a place where you can uppercut out. I would have expected you to wait the extra, literally just the extra second to be able to slam in here, to be able to get multiple of them stacked from above with a big high elevation slam. That's really more in the realm of what I would have expected. Threatening the Hanzo over here was also perfectly valid, looking like here, 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 and going, oh wait, no, I'm actually going to punch in, uppercut, slam out, etc. Yeah, okay. I don't like that you went this hard unless you knew that you guys were going to trans. This is also just don't bother. Like... That's a Reinhardt. Great. Shoot him from above. Oh, he shielded and you don't have an angle? Stop shooting. Stop shooting. That's 2 more shots than you needed into him. Doomfist is not part of the shield break.
Loading module almost ready. Fall back.
It wasn't. Okay.
Stop the payload.
In response to the trans.
Lock on my target. The payload has reached the capability.
Sure. No, I don't know why you waited here. Okay, if you're waiting here, what's your crosshair for? Why? I don't know what's doing that now. Did they do an update to the replay viewer, or did my Epic Pen just launch funny? Weird. Your crosshair either needed to be down here, or you needed to be tucked further over here, or you needed to already be leaving, or you needed to already be going across. Like, you're just waiting here, and if you're waiting here, just going, no, I'm going to wait here to see how things shake out a bit, to see if teammates make it out. Well, first off, your teammates aren't going to make it out. I can tell you that. These guys are very alive and have taken a ton of space, but you don't necessarily know how much of that. You can't see them through walls. But you're either going to back out further, or you're going to crosshair hold in places that make sense. Again, we look at this, and during your downtime, no enemy is going to appear on your screen right here. I promise. I promise. I didn't expect Kree to be that close, which is cool and all, but there's still no reason for your crosshair to be here. Your crosshair could be there, where you can go boom, boom with your little fish shots, or you can be going, no, no, I'm going to face this way in case someone comes through, or face this way in case someone comes through. But you're not just like, let me generically stare at the floor, especially stare at the floor while being visible to all 3 doors. He's waiting on purpose to raise your blood pressure temporal. Oh yes, what he said, blood pressure raising. There you go. There you go. Thank you, Adam, for giving my coaches excuses here. We're gonna go left. Yep. Good circle. Wait. 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 Patience. I mean, yeah, that's about how we expected this to go. Our Reinhardt is not engaged. Our Zen can't really interact heavily enough with what's going on. Our Hog definitely isn't engaged. Yeah, this is about how we expected this to go the whole time. The whole time. And you might be thinking, no, my Echo Mercy was engaged. Don't care. You put yourself in the middle of the enemy team, like, yeah. Is this where your crosshair should be? Is it? Yeah? Yeah? Oh, interesting. They're going to let me do it this time. Could be up over here. Could be aimed over here. It's not going to be here. You don't have some special bounce tech hidden by hitting this spot that's going to send you somewhere useful like over here. Your crosshair should either be for this door or for this door right now. It shouldn't just be hanging out. Sure. You had downtime anyway. Reasonable. Oh! That was rough. You couldn't get it to place where you wanted it to. And then you have all your cooldowns, but yeah. Doom was garbage, Doom is broke. Okay. I'm gonna let you off easy on this one because obviously it's just last second garbage time trying to stall the points. Going fishing, that's the correct thing. It's more reasonable as Doomfist than most. Sure.
I take it on the chin. It's high time. Tranquility.
So Doom can go fishing. He can, and it's great. Don't get me wrong. But if we're gonna win this, if we're gonna turn this fight, it's not. Yeah, I see this Transcendence going. It's not actually gonna be by messing with their tanks. It's really not. And they have plenty of healing available in Anna and Mercy to bring their tanks back up. So like, it's not actually gonna be fishing with their tanks. It's gonna be, okay, boom, I'm gonna try for this. Is this higher risk? Is this to take you out of the Transcendence? Absolutely. But you're not going to break the tanks. Like, you're fighting a disadvantaged fight, you need to go fishing for picks, not generic damage. You need to play into that aspect of Doomfist's kit to be like, no, I'm not just brutalizing tanks to soften them up. That works well in a close fight. I don't have an issue with Doomfist picking on tanks. It tilts tanks quite nicely. It messes up team formations. It's got value. It's especially nice when, hey, you haven't wanted to go into, say, the McCree-Brigg Anna backline that they had on the previous round. Absolutely makes sense. But if you're going to turn this fight, which is the only thing that matters, turning this fight here, you got to go after them squishies. It's a lot of focus on the Reinhardt. Yeah.
Hey there.
You wish you could play Doom without bugs? Probably the hero with the most bugs. I suppose. Oh, look! I don't know why that's happening. Oh, look! Your crosshair is aimed at the floor. Huh. Huh. That's not great. That's not great. Now, would you be suddenly be safe if it was aimed higher? No, you wouldn't be safe. But it would still be better. You could hit that fist pump as you tried to rotate left behind this pillar. You could potentially have hit a punch if you were a little closer and it wasn't hog. Like there's options here that you are again, it's not huge, but you decrease your reaction time. Is it as big on Doomfist as it is on say some of the hit scan heroes? Not necessarily, but it's still going to add up for you, and it's going to give you some of those lightning reflex punches around corners in the future as well. Lightning reflex punches into people who walk through door frames, all that. That's what reviews are for, Aritz. You're not going to see these things. I am, because you're just thinking, oh, you're going to focus on other things. You're not going to know what's there, etc. The second set of eyes, reviews are good for that. Temporal used to be famous and owned multiple Lamborghinis. Then Legit RC took it away. Before Legit RC and after Legit RC are how you define Temporal's life. Okay. Sorry, so we did this, we tried to leave. Okay, and they just had the angle. Is Doom good against Double Shield? I hear polarizing opinions on this. So, Double Shield Doomfist was a meta composition for a while. So the answer to this is Doomfist can work pretty well in sort of a Double Shield mirror. He's got, a good ability to brawl around corners, which is sort of what Double Shield versus Double Shield turned into. He's also got the good ability to follow up on halts. Halts give him predictable target locations, group opponents for a slam to hit a bunch of people, or put an opponent in a spot that you can expect to make hitting a punch easy. Like, he works well with the halts that you see in Double Shield. He also works well when teams like to stack heavy, which sometimes will happen for their core with Double Shield. So, he's absolutely usable in Double Shield. I can pull this up real quick, I suppose. I'm not going to go on too long of a tangent here, but maybe. Come on. My computer is just not happy right now. There we go. You'll notice poke compositions can look a lot of different ways. Orisa comps, whatever you want to call these, can look a lot of different ways. But one of the stylistic choices would be we're going to double shield plus something very poke heavy, etc. And then with that, we're going to have maybe a Doomfist or a Tracer or a Genji you'll sometimes see. Sometimes you'll even see a Sombra to go, hey, we've got this, and this gives us that nice follow-up aspect on that. It gives us something a little bit different that isn't just all poke, which can be nice. Hybridizing comps is generally good, and it gives you a nice hybrid piece as well as good. He's less hybridy than a Genji is in terms of, yeah, he hybrids, but he hybrids a bit more. Yes, towards dive, but can't really challenge. He's not going to go force out a Widow the same way a Genji or a Sombra might. But what he does do well is he hits those follow-up wells, and he actually brawls pretty well. So he's going to look at it and go, hey, we're a poke comp fighting another poke comp, or we're a poke comp fighting whatever, and we like being able to take this to close-range battles around corners, and then going, we have the brawl advantage, etc. So he's usable in Double Shield, but he's mostly got used in Double Shield sort of as an evolution of Double Shield versus Double Shield. Yeah. He couples well with Orisa too. Yep. He is because he goes through them. Right. He doesn't care about the shields. Why is Reaper not in my brawl section there? He probably was. Brawl. Oh. He should have been. This is not a perfect list, guys. You'll notice I talked about how Genji can absolutely fit here. There's more heroes you could say, like we've seen people try to force Soldier into this. We've seen Junkrats in Brawl as well. Like, this is not a perfect list. This was just a representation of what they are. You guys should be able to recognize the archetypes if you see these lists. And I don't care if you use these names or different names. Some people would call this, oh, this is double shield, but then it's like, oh, it has a diva. Okay, fine, but I don't want a new name for this comp. We're doing similar things. When as the diva, it's more about controlling the high ground. It finds that more critical. Then we've got the Brawl, and like, yeah, okay, the Brawl, of course, is going to change how it plays a little bit depending on what you're running. Of course, and we've even seen brawls. I didn't put Briggs here either, but we've seen teams choose to run Brig here. Is it that good? No, it's not. But if you're sure, but it does have its place. Like, did I bother to include it? No, because it's pretty darn rare. Like, we didn't do the it's always exactly like this. These are archetypes and common hero swaps in them, I would say. Reaper was probably common enough that he could have made it, but doesn't matter. Also, it's spelled Nordstrom. Taking shots at Nordstrom there. Okay, okay.
Meteor strike.
Sure. Good. That was right, though. He hit the shot, and sometimes he's gonna do that, but...
Payload is approaching its destination.
I mean, you're really less interested in surviving right now and more during garbage time, you're less interested in surviving as Doomfist and more interested in what can I do to line up the next pick. Like, you gotta chain your picks in this garbage time if you're gonna change any of these. Surviving is good and all. Yeah, okay. How does the Hanzo Doomfist matchup work? Not well. Not well. No one can jump on Hanzo. No one can just jump on a Hanzo who has Storm Arrow, who's ready, etc. Now, can you one-shot Hanzo by punching him into a wall? Sure. Can you get the jump on Hanzo and take him out? Absolutely. But as we've seen here, you're generally going to want some sort of opening. You're going to want something. Earlier, I was like, hey, can we get a Harmony Orb before we go in here? Could we recognize when Hanzo doesn't have Storm Arrow? But really, basically no one is allowed to jump a Hanzo. Really, no one is allowed to jump most hit scans, with the exception of Widow, and be like, aha, I've jumped you, and expect to win. You sort of have to sneak up on them. You have to catch them when they're down a cooldown. You have to catch them when they're pre-discorded. But this is especially true for Hanzo, because, let's face it, Storm Arrow is good, Lunge is good, all that. But also, this Hanzo, Arts believes, is smurfing based on them being level 40 and what they said in match chat.
Ready for battle.
Not that I care. We can still beat him. We just have to look for openings. And he's going to be more tilted if he is smurfing when he starts getting, beat by a Doomfist. And it's not going to be fair. You're going to be like, no, you're going to beat him when he's pre-discorded. You're going to beat him when you have a Harmony advantage. You're going to beat him when you saw he wasted Storm Arrow. But, like, oh, it's never fair. It's never a true 1v1. Well, duh. Why would you give him those? That's going to tilt him more because he can't get it, if you're playing this correctly.
Observe the barrier. Hello.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Escort the payload.
Temporal says I'm taking shots. That implies I can miss. You should call it landing hits and scoring buckets. Okay, okay.
60 seconds.
I think you can miss. I think you can. Believe it or not. That's going to be a no. Yeah, that's just not a good engage to take. You just flip that one and go, nope, I'm going back into this wall and going back here. And that's life. Hi, Doomfist.
I am moving with the payload.
Ihr Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei.
There was nobody there. There was a hog. I mean, when you turned away and chose to go here because there was a hog here, I expect. You saw the hog. You had the time I mean, you turn around just to go back here so that you can get out, is all I'm saying. Because you didn't want to engage into the hog. I thought someone was left. Got it. I missed the first part. Okay.
Flattened.
I'm still not sure I wanted to engage into them because that potentially leaves you still with like, oh, maybe you get someone, but hog almost certainly punishes you. Okay, good. Your fox guarding the mercy out.
30 seconds remaining.
Excuse me? Excuse me? No, stop it. Stop beating. Oh my goodness. This is right. Go wait over here. Your team will engage. You'll smash into the backline. If you have to punch out towards your team, so be it. But we're not doing this. We're not pushing through with cart. We are taking control of the high ground. Blue box. If Blah was here, he'd tell us about how amazing blue box is, or he'd tell us about how I'm going to tell us about how amazing blue box is. But even if you don't engage immediately, even if you just have to wait, have to tap your foot and wait, you want to be able to come in from above, preferably over here, on a different angle than your team. This is not a different angle than your team. It's making your threat very one-directional, which means you're likely to get chipped on the way in. Shots that are meant to hit you are likely to hit your team. The team is not going to be surprised. Hanzo's going to get to flick to you right away. Like, reactions to you will be faster if you come in from the same direction as your team here. And also,
Victory at all costs.
like, okay, Reinhardt, sure, you can engage on him as we punch him over to the Mega. Yeah, the spam's on you immediately. The Hanzo shots, the Mercy boosted Anane, these shots are on you immediately, and it is faster than they'd be on you if you'd slammed in from up here. If you'd been like slam, uppercut, punch out, whatever, okay, cool. That disrupts this line. They suddenly start panicking. Mercy thinks about healing her friends. Anna goes, oh, let me deal with this, etc. Stops healing Ryan, and your team pushes back their Ryan pretty hard. Hey, FaZe, Mr. Proper. How you doing?
10 seconds remaining.
Please check where your team is. Please check where your team is. Okay, they're relevant enough. Your team is totally relevant enough. I'd have preferred more from the side, less from the front, but okay. But that's fine. That's correct conceptually, other than it was the fact that it was too much from the front, not enough angle differentiation.
What is that melody?
Like, I guess you can do that. Could have popped down here for this and gone like this, but sure, it wasn't enough health. Okay. Why? All these people who are predictably using cover doing these things are going to be like, oh yeah, we're worried about your advancing team, are now going to have, who are worried about your advancing team. As you go in deep like this, you just put yourself in all of their sight lines. You have to think about the opponent's sight lines, and like they were always going to be playing in this area, and they were always going to be playing in a place where maybe they're trying to shoot at the people on the cart, but their defense is close the angle. And even with the angle closed, you're right on their screen. You're in too much attention here. Like, going after this guy from the outside, too much attention. If you'd gone after him from, like, here, potentially, but this is too much attention. It's from the same direction as your team. It's not from above or anything like that. Oh, look, if we were above, we'd have a hog to punch off. Whatever. Okay, not a great matchup for us, but, like, conceptually something that we would like cleared. From the same direction, sort of as our team is pushing, yeah, Little before our team's backline is relevant against this backline, though, so these guys are going to have all their attention to spend on you. I don't know if Hanzo's going to get you or not. I don't care, because I know other people will. Okay.
It's high time.
Round 3. Score 3.
Adam.
3. Switching sides.
Diamond, yeah, we're looking at a Diamond Doomfist review here.
Initiating match.
Doomfist is a weird character where you spend a good amount of time 5v6 while your team have to set up or wait for your CDs. Sometimes it's better than feeding. Imagine waking up in the morning expecting someone to remind you you lost 2 years ago every day. It must be hard being temporal. It's okay. It's okay. Because remember, guys, well, it's true. I did lose to Atlanta Academy. So did everybody else. But we were better than everybody else. Except Atlanta Academy.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Sorry, guys, driving an F1 race right now. While commenting, gotta win. Be right back to World F1. Thank you, Adam. Thank you.
Five, 4, 3, 2,
Okay.
1. Attack
Angles and timing. Direction and timing.
Stop the payload.
And then jumping on him while he's missing cooldowns. Since apparently this Doomfist is your mortal enemy. Fine. Totally fine. Oh, can we 2v1 him? Okay. Right concept. A little late for right concept. Good. And now leave. I'm not totally sure I want to do this yet. I'm really not. Because again, wow, this game hates me right now, apparently. I look at your cooldowns, and yeah, you'll have your punch available, but your slam, which is a tool that you absolutely need to get out, is still pretty far away. If your slam is still pretty far away and isn't going to be available by the time you punch uppercut, even if you mix in fist pump shots, it's not really time to go in yet. Like, look at this. You do this, your only way out is uppercut. Okay. I guess that worked out. If they turned on you a little faster, you'd have been in trouble. I guess you were closer to the end of that 2 seconds than I thought there. Closer to the 1. There's a curry up here, which I guess we'll just take. Oh, a super chat from Adam for $1.99 saying, I believe in arts. Show this loser nerd you can win. Once again, that's a super chat from Adam saying, I believe in arts. Show this loser nerd you can win. Thank you, Adam. Thank you. You didn't really have anywhere else to go from here. I still don't think you should have engaged as early as you did, but that's okay. It doesn't ultimately make a difference. Do what Tip World ever could do.
Damage increased. I'm taking care of you.
That's more like it.
I don't win, though. No. Fine. Good. That's absolutely correct. Right idea. No. Wait. Why are we on the stairs? Why are we pointing at the stairs? This is not where people show up. It's not. Are you going to ricochet off this? No.
Just what I need.
Stop the payload.
Sure would have been nice. Rather than that weird slam we did for no reason.
Stop the payload.
To have been able to engage, not now, but
Just what
Oh,
I need.
your Winston and your Hammond are in? This is when you want to go in. This right here is when you want to go in.
Stop the payload.
Meteor strike.
Okay. Just drop.
Continues.
Good. You do win. You're not a bald nerd that loses a contenders. You're winning at life. Val thinks you're funny. Okay.
I like how that feels.
Okay. So, look at this. Your Winston is in. You're engaging while your Winston is in from a different direction than your Winston. And we see success. Imagine that. That's unfortunate. You did not want to hit Hawk here. You wanted to get out. Temporal, you can tell us the full story one day. You guys celebrate second place doing well, or explain why the other team had advantage. Was there a party? I mean, there wasn't a party, but like we got what we were supposed to out of it. I don't think you guys realized that they went, what, 7-0 in the regular season? They didn't drop a map to anyone in the regular season. Like Atlanta Academy, no one was taking down Atlanta Academy, and you know from the roster you have, you know from the fact that they have resources in terms of they're getting salaries, they're, looking at these things, they're able to do this full time. Like, you know from what that is, from what you're up against, that makes their ability to recruit stronger, which lets them get better players, which lets them get other better players, because good players want to play with the best players they can, because it's their best chance to get in. That's just how the scene works, and that's fine. Like, how do I put this? Everyone always expected them to win, and it would have been shocking if they hadn't. Like, they wouldn't scrim most contenders teams. They scrimmed us. They scrimmed us when we were good. We didn't start the season good, but that's how that was. Like, that was an OWL team. Atlanta Academy was an OWL team, guys. Like, I know they weren't in OWL, but they were winning more than 50% of their scrims in OWL. They were doing like 80% of their scrims against OWL teams. Everyone knew that and they ended up getting second in Gauntlet, beating out a lot of South Korean teams to do it. And everyone was like, South Korean contenders is the strongest. South Korean contenders is the strongest. Okay, you guys can have the title of strongest for that year because, yes, one of your teams did win, but like, Atlanta Academy took out the other 3-4 teams you sent. Okay, not directly. Other team, they had to. Some of them got taken out by other South Korean teams, but they climbed to the ladder, etc. So it was a question of phase 2 would have been expected before I joined, before that season started. They would have been expected to potentially get relegated, probably get relegated, perhaps win back and be back in contenders, but they would have been expected to send down to trials, probably do fine in trials and get back up into contenders, but they would have expected to be like a 7th, 8th team. Instead, they at the end were the second best team there. That was a huge win in their book. And there wasn't a party or anything, no, because all these people do is scrim. Come on now, scrim and play Overwatch, which scrimming is more playing Overwatch. But what you look at is people got poached as they should have. We did recruiting as we should have. Ultimately, at that point, I went, hey, see the changes, not going to do it anymore. But our tank line went on to then go play for Atlanta Academy. Like, that's how it works. That's what you want to do. Like, that's a huge win in and of itself. I would have won, but no, I didn't bring that one out, Adam. Adam, I think you're missing that, again, they had a perfect map score in the regular season.
No chance.
But I hit him, or was everyone sad? Okay, so let's go back here. You get out successfully. You were trying to get out, but you hit him. Got him. Sure.
No chance.
Okay, that's gonna be a little tough to get out of. Yeah.
60 seconds.
That wasn't really your best retreat, but he doesn't know you don't have punch. Good. Sure. This is better. You're playing ankles. You're splitting from your team. Good.
That's better.
Okay, you're ready.
30 seconds.
Meteor strike.
I don't love that. Like, this whole sequence here. I'm gonna punch for nothing. You're punching to ricochet. Okay, if you're punching to ricochet and then you don't really ricochet, you're now using both of these without a delay to go into an Anna on high ground who you know you don't have the tools to take down here. You'd either have to punch her to take down, which you can't really do. So you're like deciding that you're going to use all 4 of your abilities, including your ult, from the get-go. Like from your first ability usage, it was I'm going to use 4 abilities to try to take down Anna. I would rather not. Like, I would really rather we make better plans for how we're going to use our abilities. And if that window to take Anna down with 2 abilities and fist pumps isn't there, let's get a new plan. Let's figure out a different engage. Let's wait a second and see if the battlefield shifts. Let's rotate slightly and see if the battlefield shifts rather than, well, my plan is to use all 4 cooldowns. No.
Meteor strike.
Hey, you got him.
10 seconds remaining.
That's a troll comment. We should all be happy to we're lost. Everyone here would get a worse coach.
Enemies divided. Enemies divided.
Okay, so here you are.
Overtime.
I needed
You're coming back from spawn.
They realized that savior.
Just wait. Why are you giving yourself... You're not ready to go in yet. Why are you giving yourself a chance to be poked out? Like, oh, you see this? You should immediately close the angle. Why are you still walking? This is like, remember back here on bridge? When you went, oh, I want to do my scouting, even though I wouldn't possibly go in yet because my team is back there, I want to go do my scouting, and then you get shot, and then you have to take a more passive engage, a shallower angle engage. Same thing. There was no situation in which you were ready to go in here. As soon as you saw that there was something here, oh, I'm closing this angle. I don't want to get hooked. I don't want to get shot. Fortunately, he turned away. He didn't check over here to see if there was anyone or anything like that, and he was always more likely to turn this way. But this was a risk that doesn't make sense. Did you mean to miss? Or did you want to hit him?
Overtime.
I mean, you have to have meant to miss here. I'm not totally sure why you wanted to miss. You had the tools to punch and then pop up here, or to punch and then pop down over here. Either of which would have been better. You'd have probably gone over here, given that they have a Pharaoh now. But you decide to go over here with your punch. You decide to go through. And now you're stuck in with nothing.
Enemies divided.
Yeah, I wanted to be able to go, hey, I get value out of my punch, and then I uppercut slam out, and now I can wait for cooldowns for a minute, and now I go back in for value. I get value for my punch, and I uppercut out for value, wait for a moment till I at least have punch back, and I slam in big and punch out type thing. Like, I don't know why you punched past there. The Pharaoh's rocket messed up your punch. Okay. I don't think so. Like, your aim was pretty far past hog is the thing. You missed on purpose. I don't know why. Yeah, I think you missed on purpose. I'm confused on your decision too. Would I say Doomfist ult is the worst? No. I especially wouldn't say it's the worst now that it has the property of doubling the regen speed on his other abilities. Like, it's tempo. It's, hey, he does this, he has it, it's flexible enough to be a get out of jail free card. Like, hey, it's like this, and then, nope, I'm out. It's flexible enough to be a harder all in to finish someone. Yes, it's just really a fourth ability in that case. It's not some amazing thing, but it's a fourth ability that after using it, instead of going use 2 abilities and 1 to get out, or 1 ability and 2 to get out, or 2, 1, whatever, instead of having 3 abilities to go with, which really you only get to use 2 of for trying to work, unless you all in, which a lot of the time you don't want to, you now have, well, you can use all 3 abilities, plus the ult, and then you can use 2 more abilities. Like, the ult moves the total amount of in time that you get to have, the total amount of time that you are threatening the team, and you get an invincibility window during it, but the opponents are still having to do it, up to 6 from 2. That's pretty meaningful. As well as being, again, flexible enough to get you out, do other things. It's not a terrible ult. I mean, I just didn't want you back in this quickly. You go in with no abilities here.
Enemies divided.
You won't make it back with this amount of gameplay time left. Yeah.
Victory.
Okay. So, Overwatch is complicated, but Overwatch is also simple. Direction and timing. And most of the time, your direction was reasonable. You went, hey, my team is engaged from here, I'm going to engage from here. Great. My team is engaged from here, I'm going to engage from here. Great. I'm good with that. Your bigger focus is still going to be the timing, and really once you got to third on your attack here, that's when things went downhill. That's when things started to go downhill and you didn't recover. I know you know that, but remember, you are perfectly happy to let your tanks engage and you just engage immediately after them from a different direction. So I'd like you to go, it's not the only way to play Doomfist. It's totally fine for Doomfist to take initial engages and have his team follow up. It's also totally fine to go, hey, you're Doomfist, you can go for pickoff plays when your team is nowhere near ready to try to get them, as long as you're ready again when your team is ready to go in. Like, those are things that Doomfist can do. But sort of your main play in your playbook, here, I would like to be, hey, main play in our playbook is going to be, we want to go ahead and engage from a different direction of our team right as or right after our tanks have done their engage, from a different direction. That's what we want our default to be. So if that means we have to hold cooldowns and we just have to tap our foot and wait a little bit, that's okay. If that means that we don't get to scout and peek early, that's okay. Like, we understand we're not going to have great sustain tools when we're hiding on off angles, things like that. Sometimes we will, but we're not going to have them. So we go, before we do our engages, we check, has our team engaged? Is our team about to engage? Like, I really want this check. Even when you get tilted, that just makes you lean harder into your fundamental. And your fundamental is, I engage when my tanks engage. If you as a DPS in general, but especially as a flanker, engage when your tanks engage, or just after your tanks engage, you're going to do well. Yes, you get some extra shielding. Yes, you have, a lot of, you hop around, you're weird, etc. Yes, you have a bigger health pool than a normal DPS, but you're still not actually built as a tank. Winston has more ability to soak and engage. Hammond has more ability to soak attention being on him for a second. Reinhardt has more ability to soak attention being on him for a second. These are all things that you need to not just understand, but fall back on when you're in trouble. Like, go back to your fundamentals and go, oh, I'm having trouble. If I'm having trouble, if things aren't going well for me, I should bring my focus to, I want to engage from a different direction than my team when my tanks are in. That's what I want to do. I want to go in when my tanks are in. And if you go, hey, I go in when my tanks went in, I used 2 abilities, didn't get value, used my last ability to get out, and now I need to wait for a couple seconds while my team is fighting before I can go back in with fresh abilities again, that's fine too. That's totally fine. You don't need to hop back in there immediately. But like play to the fundamentals. When you get tilted, you just want to sort of bring yourself back and go, wait, what are my fundamentals? If I'm tilted, I don't want to hard carry. If I feel like things are going poorly, my answer is not to hard carry. If I feel like I'm not doing a ton, or if I feel like my team is blasting me or anything like that, the answer is not, well, I'm going to show them up, I'm going to hard carry, I'm going to take everyone down. The answer is, let me play to my team's tempo. Let me just play to my team's tempo. I don't care what people are saying, but let me play to my team's tempo. My team is going in, great. Now I'll go ahead and go in. My team is in, great. Now I'll go ahead and go in. That I want to be sort of your default in the playbook. Again, you can go for a little bit of fishing when your team isn't ready, when your team is a good 6-7 seconds from being ready, because you should then be ready again to go in, as long as you don't hardcore feed 1v6 with most of those. You can do that, but I want you to be ready to fall back on your fundamental there. Like, that's really important. That is really important. Go in just as or just after your tanks have started the engage there. And if you have to wait for that timing, please do. I want you to really like make that a default, make that a play that you consistently fall back on. If we get into other things for your Doomfist, we can definitely do them. I would like you to, for your secondary engages, as we could call them. So like you already did your initial hit to try to do stuff as your tanks went in, etc. I'd like you to spend a little more time out to be a little more willing to exit than you seem to be, to get your abilities back, stay out of the fight for a couple seconds, and then go back in with value. I'd like to see more of that as a second thing for you to work on, because you're a little too up. I could then get into what to do during garbage time, what to do with fishing, etc. But I think I'd instead more go into, you're really focused on this Hanzo. I don't think there's a need for you to be really focused on this Hanzo, truth be told, but just coordinate. Just go, hey, I'll go after the Hanzo when my Diva does. That works well. I'll go after the Hanzo when my Winston does. Or I'll go after the Hanzo when he has some sort of disadvantage. That can be you having a friend. That can be you having an orb, him having a Discord orb. That can be him already missing health. That can be him missing lunge. That can be him missing storm arrows. But that's when you do it. You don't just go, I'm going to challenge him neutral, especially if you feel like, hey, he's got good aim. Like, so, okay, cool. Take a 2v1. Take a fight where you have the advantage. And even if you lose the fight where you had the advantage, so what? Doesn't really matter. I'd like to talk more about what you do in junk time situations, but I'm not going to. So again, first thing I really want you to focus on getting your timing right. Get your timing right. Get it right for just as your tanks have gone in or just after your tanks have gone in, you do your hit. That's what we want. Yes, you can do fishing. Yes, I don't mind if you start the occasional engage. That's not going to be a big deal, especially on other maps. But I want this to be something that is consistently in your playbook, that you're conscious of when you're choosing to start the fight versus letting your tank start the fight. And if things aren't going well for you, let your tank start the fight more often. 2, stay out until you're ready again. You should be finishing your engagements outside of the engagement and just stay out until you're ready again. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. You're waiting to get your cooldowns back. The same way my third thing is talking about noticing and punishing opponents' lack of CDs. Punish CDs being missing. Don't open yourself up to be punished by missing CDs by going in when you're not actually ready to be able to get back out. These are what I'd want you to work on. I'd want you to work on them basically in this order, and I would want you to work on them one at a time with 5 to 15% of your brain power. That's what's going to work. That's how you're going to level it up, play this a little bit better. I hope that makes sense. If you or anyone else has questions on this or on anything Overwatch related, or really anything at all, hey, throw them up in chat. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below. See what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all of that good stuff. Okay. What if my tanks are quite passive? Do I play with them? You can engage when they get engaged upon. You can set up effectively. You can set up so that when they get engaged upon, you still engage. So let's say that you have yourself a It's Gibraltar, so let's talk about Reinhardt. Let's say you have a Reinhardt that's just very passively holding this spot. Okay, he's going to get engaged upon. Great. Cool. So you're chilling up here, and you're either ready to go in here when they go in, or you're ready to, as they turn and go after your Reinhardt, push into him, you're ready to hit him in the back. When he gets engaged upon, you can go, okay, fine, I'll do it. That would be the solution there. And if it's like, okay, but what if they're super passive on offense? You gave me the trick situation of on defense when I can count on them being engaged upon. Maybe they're not going to be engaged upon because they are, my tanks are the ones on offense, or maybe they're not going to be engaged upon because the other team is such good poke, things like that. Okay, well then you start getting a little bit more into point 3, right? Like if the other team won't engage because they have really good poke, or the other team won't engage because, and they're getting too big a lead before they'll engage, or the other team has a situation where um, your team's tanks just won't go in. In Diamond, your tanks probably will go in, or they're probably waiting for something to happen, but you have to steal the tank skill set. If your tanks aren't going in, and they're any good, it's probably because they've decided that they're going to get punished too hard if they go in. So they're actually waiting for trades to create the correct situation to go in. And a big piece of the correct situation to go in is going to be, well, how do the cooldowns look on the other side? Is Flash out? Is Hook out? Is Winston Bubble out? Is Storm Arrow out? Is Sleeper Nade out? You're not going to get situations before you can go in where the answer to all of these things is yes, but if you can get a couple of these boxes checked, that might be enough for you to go in off of, or enough for your tanks to go in off of. And that is going to be go circle back right to point number 3 there, where I want you, when you're going after some of these people, really thinking about or looking for opportunities where their CDs aren't there. And they're not going to hold all of these CDs forever, because if none of them ever use any of these CDs, your team should just win the poke battle, the pre-fight, etc. Hog isn't going to never use his hook. Hanzo isn't going to never use Storm Arrow. Anna isn't going to never look for offensive abilities and then not get value out of them. So that would sort of be the answer to that one. You go, okay, well, are there big enough openings? Or again, well, McCree's missing 40% of his health because, I don't know, my BAP, I can see my BAP is actively shooting at him and hit some shots. Okay, I'm willing to go in. And my tanks are in positions where they could go in. Maybe my tanks haven't because they're playing super passive, but they probably will if I do. And I see my BAP just connected some shots on Yo over here, so I'm going to slam into him. But yes, if you're just having a bad time, stop being the one to start the engagement. And if you're having a bad time and your tank still won't start the engagement, make sure you're starting the engagement off of good situations. Opponents hitting poor rotations, opponents being missing health, opponents being down cooldowns. Okay. Because if my tanks are passive and I flank, I get checked, I get eliminated. Yeah, I think we talked about that. Big thanks for the coaching. No problem. Okay. So what do we have here? What would I say is the worst ult then? Let me take a look. It's probably a DPS ult. Oh, that's not quite what we meant to do. Usually I'd actually pull that up first. Cool. Worst ult. Worst ult. In our contenders for worst ult, there's a possibility. There's a strong possibility. That's not amazing, but I don't think I'm going to put it there. There's a strong possibility. It's possible I'm just overlooking something right now, but probably one of these 3. I'd probably put one of these 3 down as the worst ult in the game. Oh, I'm overlooking Pharah. Maybe. Like, her ult does a ton of damage, and you absolutely can get value out of it. It is frequently a trade, though. And it's like a good ult if you trade 2 to 1 with it. Don't get me wrong, and that is a good ult. That's perfectly fine. But, like, it's not the most reliable 2 to 1 trade in the world. Probably one of these 3, though. Probably not going to put Pharah's ult there. Okay. So Atlanta was smurfing. I mean, Overwatch League doesn't have relegation, and Overwatch League is a closed league, and it was designed that way intentionally because that way nothing could compete with it because there was never any question of, wait, are they actually the best players? Because there were times when they definitely weren't. If you watch that first week or two of GOATS, for example, when Overwatch League started in season 2, the top contenders team simply were better than them. Like the Overwatch League teams got better by probably 3-4 weeks in, but the top contenders teams were overall generally. The top contenders teams generally were better than the Owl teams. Now you've had Owl teams like Atlanta Academy, Fusion Uni, Runaway at times who were absolutely better than Element Mystic, that were absolutely better than many or even most Owl teams for long stretches of the season. But generally speaking, like in the beginning of GOATS, EU could have thrown out 3 or 4 teams that were better than most of the Owl teams. And like that's not normal. EU is not the strongest contenders region. It's within the top half when we had a bunch of contenders regions, but it's not South Korea. It's not North America, which had the benefit of being Owl's backyard, so they got to play against them more, etc., which meant they could level up more. Wow, Temporal is now using the Smurf excuse. No, I'm not. I'm not. Temporal, which ult do you think is better, Meteor Strike or Pulse Bomb? Pulse Bomb. I am factoring in how quickly Pulse Bomb charges, though, like the amount of ult it takes to charge Pulse Bomb into it being better. Boring old guy talks about science while getting dominated at 07. Okay. Big thanks for coaching. No problem. And Adam says, no problem, Aritz. I try my best. This nerd on the video said some stuff too, but I know you're listening to me instead. Okay. Recapped my coaching advice. Use your cooldowns. Get eliminations. Don't get eliminated. Thanks to you too, Adam. Art says, Hitmasters champ, I believe in you. Hey, I believe in him too. I look forward to it. Yeah, looks unlikely, but hey, with enough grinding. I mean, you were clearly tilted in this game, and your gameplay for your first 2/3 of your first round of attack was clearly better than your later gameplay. So, like, you can still capture it, but remember, when you get frustrated, fall back on, I want to sync to my team's engages. Keep that in mind. Nordstrom says, I think decision-making changes and playstyle changes are far better than comp changes 90% of the time. Yes, strong agree. Braz is just press Q to go to spawn, but how many people can you take with you? I need to buy some patience or something. Okay. It's a matter of thinking a little more about what you're doing before you do it. As Doom, that's the luxury you have because of the playstyle. What's the point of being Owl if college team players get more rewarded without winning? Huh? I'm not sure I follow that one, Val. Money. Oh no, they don't. I mean, you will get paid more in Owl than you would in Collegiate. Yeah. Owl will pay more than Collegiate. Like that's still true. You could argue that Collegiate is a little better guaranteed, but it's still not guaranteed. You can be on one of those top teams and absolutely get dropped. You can be like, "Oh, hey, we won," and still get dropped and replaced for the next year. So it's not guaranteed either. And remember, most of the colleges aren't doing full rides. I suppose a full ride would be a similar level of compensation, but the number of colleges doing full rides are minuscule at this point. Good day to everyone. Hey, Sheldon. Money. Yeah. Okay. Did I see anything else here? I know I have a question from Val. Do I need to scroll up? Nordstrom says, I think I remember Jane describing a pre-222 comp called Chinese Cheese, in which Doom was the main tank with his Zarya off tank. Oh, yeah. Chinese Contenders was wild. They resisted goats actually longer than anyone else, and they were wild. Not necessarily bad. I'd have probably put them at the time that I was doing coaching as the fourth strongest region, and I think there were 7 regions at the time. They've probably leveled up since then in terms of what you'd consider their regional strength, but they were silly. They were. Uh, there was definitely a little more focus on DPS play for a little longer there than in some other regions. Some other regions moved on and realized the power of tank play. And I don't just mean goats, I mean in general, probably before they did, which is not me saying, oh, their tanks were awful or anything, but it just sort of what the focus was on. Yeah, I remember the comp. Didn't ultimately have to study it a ton because while we absolutely would scrim against them, while I was coaching Sydney Drop Bears, they were the scrim bubble over there was it would be the Chinese contenders teams, the top 3 Australian teams, the top 1 Pacific team, the team that went on to Gauntlet there, and generally it would be the trials teams from South Korea. That would be one scrim bubble. Obviously, there were times where the scrim bubbles broke and we'd play against teams like Runaway and Element Mystic, but that would generally be because, hey, we're in the playoffs and so are they, and most of the other teams are on break, scrimming less, etc., because they've already been eliminated, relegated, etc. As well as times when, you'd scrim Owl or you'd scrim NA, etc. Okay. How did Chinese cheese work? No, I'd have to look at the comp again, Nordstorm. Sorry. Like, I remember vaguely the comp that you're talking about, but I didn't look at it terribly, terribly seriously, other than like I looked at it seriously enough to understand how it worked at the time, but it's not something that I like etched into my brain or went super serious about because you can tell, hey, this is working because the other teams are also either not willing to run goats or not wanting to or not any good at running goats because goats hadn't evolved there, hadn't been built up there, hadn't been leaned into. You would see them running bastion comps and contenders on like New Bonnie, etc. during that age. Like it was just it's just where they were. They were like, nope, this is not going to be a thing. We're not going to do it, etc. I think one team did get, maybe more than one team did end up running goats by the end, but it's not polished. It hasn't been leveled up 100 times like it was everywhere else. Goat sucks. Eh. So the answer, Nordstorm, is sorry. I don't remember because I didn't study it. Like I studied it, I figured it out at the time, but it didn't make sense to be like, oh yes, let me really focus on this because I studied it enough to go, this is not the answer. This is a case of it's working because the opponents they're playing it against haven't leveled up their goats well enough. Old Overwatch sounds like it was so wild and fun. In a lot of ways, it was. Oh, that is a lot of DMs that showed up there. Okay, let's go ahead and Val had questions. Okay, so we are looking at Anubis. I can't really pull that up. Would have said someone Archway and her DPS can't force her out. Sure. Anna forced to play low ground to take cover from Widow. Does Brig stand in position 1? I can't really show this, so talking about it on stream isn't great. So position 1 is under bridge for anti-flank and shield some Widow shots if Anna needs to rotate, or does Brig stand in position 2? And where did you put position 2? Position 2 is basically right side of course. So we're Anubis A defense. Can I copy image? And now can I don't really have a way to do this. This does not work terribly well. And I'm not going to show my Discord here. And swap out Reinhardt, Proc, Inspire, etc. I mean, these are both wrong because she shouldn't be in any of these positions. Like, you can be in the initial Brig position. Oh no, Brig position 1 isn't under. Brig position 1 is right then. Yes. Sorry, I thought you had where the actual 1 was. No, Brig position 1 is correct, which is, we'll go to Anubis here. Let's go like that. Sorry, guys. Mm-hmm. Okay. So basically, the question was, do we, if there's a widow on the other team that is giving us trouble on top of arches here, are we better off going, hey, let's put our Brig right here with our Anna? Or are we going to put our Brig right here, where she potentially gets some Inspire procs threats into Reinhardt? No, you don't like getting Inspire procs off of Reinhardt generally, unless they're from Whipshot, because Reinhardt will just take you down with his hammer. Like, Brig in range of Reinhardt is like, ooh, free Brig. Like, it really is. They will, their eyes will light up and they'll go and swing wildly. This is the better position. This is for sure the better position. If you need to go, nope, I'm not going to let her poke me, and I'm going to back out, but I'm still here in case a flanker comes up through this route, something like this. That's fine. Obviously, it's not amazing, but it's fine. But your option was basically never over here. It's basically never going to be here unless you're playing against some other comp that has a similar backline to you or an even squishier backline. If you're playing against a dive comp that's trying to rotate their Zen Sigma there or something, or their Lucio Moira, sure, maybe you go, hey, we're going to rotate our backline into yours and beat you. Or there's Zen Mercy, that's fine. But against a Widow up here, what we're talking about, assuming more standard stuff, assuming that there's not some backline over here you're going to punish, and that there's a Rhine, like you said, then you would absolutely go, no, we are going to position over here. We're going to keep our Anna further away from their Rhine. We're going to keep our Anna out of the line of sight of their Widow unless she hard goes over here. And even if she does, we can pull back further to still get some things done. This is where you'd play. You'd be ready to shut down the flanker. Sheldon says, I liked goats, but I would prefer it be strategic, if only in some situations, not 100% fully dominant in the meta. I hear you. I hear you. It was beaten in its last match while it was legal in Overwatch League. It was beaten. Not really beaten. Like, the team that preferred goats did win, but they had to swap off of goats to beat the comp that had been pulled out to beat their goats. That said, would it have found its way back to being dominant? Maybe. Mm-hmm. My understanding. Your Brig should not be feeding most of her packs onto tanks. That should not be happening. Enable your DPS. Brig is less for enabling tanks and more for enabling DPS. She enables squishies much more effectively. 50 health, 55 health per second is much, much more powerful on 200 HP heroes than it is on tanks. Yeah, that is not you. We don't want to be feeding our tanks a ton. Will we use our first pack on a tank? Sure. Your Inspire numbers drop when you backline Brig. Yeah. So the way to get your numbers back up when you backline Brig is to hire your whip shots. And I get it. When you frontline Brig, they're higher. When you backline Brig, they're lower. That's natural in some ways. Some of it is going to be understanding, well, can I step up to go get an Inspire? Can I step up to go get an Inspire and back up? Some of it is going to be, well, do you really need your Inspire up if no one's taking damage? But yes, the next trick is to get your Inspire numbers back up. That comes with whip shot accuracy. That comes with recognizing when you can hit stuff. Yes, there is a place for, not here, but like here perhaps, going, I'm going to walk up to get a whip shot to hit something and then back out. But ultimately, you're still not trying to frontline brawl. The reason you're getting away with frontline brawling right now as Brig without rally is because the opponents aren't good at punishing you. Like, they're not seeing that you in the front line are something to punish, and their accuracy is poor because of the level of game that you're playing at, and that's creating a situation where you can go, you don't get eliminated as quickly as you should, effectively. the number of people that say go rig and pocket Rhine and ranked. I know. If Monkey's solo diving, is it worth giving him a repair pack? Giving Monkey your first repair pack is totally fine. Just like giving Hammond your repair pack is totally fine. Giving dive tanks repair packs is generally a little more acceptable than giving brawl tanks your repair packs, but even so, you would look at this and go, yeah, giving your first repair pack to a monkey, a ball, sure, absolutely fine. Hopefully they're not solo diving. Hopefully they've got, someone going in with them, even a Doomfist from a different angle, something, and that Doomfist will become a better target for your packs. But yeah. Okay, that's going to do it for this one. If you guys have more questions, you can throw them up in chat now, but we're probably wrapping up here. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all that good stuff.